EB02, the second extra booster in the One Piece trading card game over the anime's 25th collection, is officially going to be the next major event over in the East now that the Asia finals are done, getting ready and set for the Japan finals, solidifying the last members that will attend the World Championships in March. It's likely going to be the only EB02 event until the West gets it later this year. Now, it is a smaller set similar to EB01, but despite that, there are plenty of impactful cards. So let's take a deep dive, let's get into them all, and see exactly what's coming in the meta. But first, let's hear from a word from our sponsor. If you're looking to bling out and have sleek new additions to your accessories for your decks, playmats, sleeves, etc., go ahead and check out Sleeve Chief. Sleeve Chief recently, during the holidays, released 30 new products on their website for you to get right now. If you love having custom Dawn sleeves, they've got excellent new Dofi, God of Thunder, Gear 5. Even the Mochi Demon and Law sleeves just look so good. If you like having an entire theme of deck box, playmat, border sleeves, Dawn sleeves, they've got a Flame Brothers bundle that looks so good, all centered around one of the more popular characters in the game, Ace, hanging out with Luffy and Sabo in some of the designs as well, various playmats, and gorgeous deck boxes on their website. If you're interested in any of these things, make sure to use code Atrocious at checkout for 5% off your order. Not only would you be helping support the channel, but you would also get some of your new favorite products along the way. Thank you so much to Sleeve Chief for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to what we were talking about before. All right, so I'm just going to go through these one by one. If you want to see this exactly for yourself, the list is on OnePieceTopDecks.com, one of my favorite sites for results and whatnot. But let's start off with the first card in the set. It's Karoo. It's just a very simple 5-cost, 7,000 power character with 1,000 counter. Might be nice, you know, to have as an option for stuff like PRB Sanji or maybe Vivi or something like that to give rush, but it's just your typical fill-in vanilla. Now, this Sabo, the second card in the set, is a 2K 4-cost, 5,000 power, has an activate main of resting the character up to one of your Revolutionary Army characters other than Sabo, gains 2,000 power during the turn. Now, this is a nice option for a lot of the Revolutionary Army decks, you know, talking about Bello Betty, talking about Sabo, right? Especially because this has pretty good synergy if you're running kind of a true Revolutionary Army package with the different Ivankoffs, right? The Ivankoff from OP06 can play this character off of its on-play effect, right? Looking at the top 3, I think it is, play a 5,000 power character that also is played as active, so then you can use the activate main to rest that guy because he's not an on-play effect, and give somebody plus 2,000 getting ready for their swing, enabling your big bodies, similar to the other Ivankoff, right, from OP05. Once you use that Bello Betty leader effect to boost up that Ivankoff and then play this guy down, being a 5,000 power character, you can then go ahead and use that activate main to once again boost up one of your little weenies that you have on the field. It could be really nice if you've got kind of a wider board, right? Like sometimes you play a couple different weenies and some bigger bodies, and you can only power up 3 different characters for Bello Betty. So if you've got a 4th character on the field that's not Sabo that can swing, here's a small little power boost. It's not 3,000, but 2,000 is nothing to slouch at, right? I really like this 2K. Chopper, being a Dawn ×2 opponent's turn, this character gains 2,000 power then on the on play if you have a Straw Hat type leader. Grant up to 1 rested Dawn to your leader or one of your characters. This is a 3-cost, 3,000 power, 1K counter. This could be a nice addition for your Tony Chopper packages that you add to Red Luffy, right? Tony Chopper, right? The red-green deck. Also, maybe the Zoro decks, right? Might just be an option. It is an Animal Drum Kingdom Straw Hat Crew type character, as we typically see through Tony Chopper. So it fits within that package of, you know, the Dr. Cruejas, some Nami searching, that EB01 Chopper, and also the OP08 searching Chopper. I feel like those lists are a little bit tight, though. I don't know if you would run this one over the one from like OP04 that plays a 3,000 power character. You might honestly go ahead and jam this guy in your deck, right? right? Because the combo of on play with the chopper to look through the deck, find the OPO4 chopper, play that down, and then play this guy down, right? Because he is a 3000 power character, can give Arrested Dawn to your leader or a character of any sort. So could be a nice addition to those decks, just like a very simple like inclusion, right? Just a small buff. We've got Don Achino, right? He's just a vanilla 8 cost 10,000 power 1k character. And then the Imposter Straw Hat Crew. So I don't know the lore entirely. I'm not fully caught up, but this is just too funny to look at. Anyways, 2 cost 3,000 power, your turn. This character has power 2,000. But then on the opponent's turn, this character has power minus 2,000. So very interesting. It's very similar to the OP10 Sanji that we saw, right? That gains a bunch of power during your turn on the attack. But this character just on the flip side goes back down to 1,000 powers. So I don't think it's probably not that good. But I guess if you want to play this in some other rush deck, right? It's not on play effects that this has. Sure, you get a 2 cost rush type character, right? For 5,000 powers. Seems very good for the aggressive on something like PRB Sanji and Vivi. Although it is fake Straw Hat Crew. Our first SR in the set is going to be Yamato. 6 cost 7,000 power, land of Wano. No counter on this character. Has an activate main once per turn. If your leader has the Land of Wano type or Port Gusty Ace, grant up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader, then this character gains rush during the turn. So gives you a little bit of value on that extra Dawn that you can get like on your leader or something like that, and then swing as a 7,000 power character on a 6 Dawn turn. Seems pretty good in my opinion. Also, being an activate main can be nice against stuff like Marshall D. Teach, right? Especially because Teach really struggles with wide aggressive boards. The Yamato could give advantage, right? It is a 7,000 power character, 6 cost, not super easy to take out, and they're probably not going into a 10 Dawn turn usually when you play this. So who knows? Maybe this is finally time for Red Green Odin. Now we've got this Animal Water 7 Straw Hat Crew type event, Carving Hoof Cherry Blossom Blizzard. 3 cost on the main, up to 3 of your leader or character cards gain 1,000 power during this turn. Then you can KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a power of 3,000 or less, with a trigger as well as KOing a character with a power of 4,000 power or less on your opponent's side. Could be a nice little tech card that we see in some different red decks, right? Being able to give anybody without any restriction plus 1,000 power is so nice. Plus allows you to KO different characters on the field that are pesky, that probably never swing, right? I'm talking like Marshall D. Teach is probably the best example. We're even seeing Blackbeards and Lucci really tech for different events and stuff like that, try out different things to help get rid of Teach to make that matchup a little bit closer. For a red deck, this might be a good option, and plus 1,000 power across the board. It's 3 Dawn to pay for 3,000 power and KOing something. That's honestly not that bad of value. You've also got the first of the different music events that are in this set. All of the colors have a 2 cost event that are just like this on music. They read the exact same thing. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal 1 card with the cost of 4 or more and add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Also having a trigger of activating that card's main effect. These I think are really good, especially if you're looking for some unsearchable cards, right? For red, you can start seeing different people play like Silver's Rayleigh more often, right? Silver's Rayleigh, being a former Roger Pirates card, is not searchable in any facet right now in the game, which this event would make it searchable. And guess what? With 2 and Rayleigh being 8, that makes 10. So that could be your full 10 non-turn if you end up finding that with Silver's Rayleigh. And worst case scenario, just grab like a 2K or something. Definitely going to be cool cards. It's not going to be like included in every single deck, but for some decks that have big giant bodies that need the consistency to find those big giant bodies to execute their game plan, these events are going to be really good. And then the stage to finish off red, we have Thousand Sunny, a 2-cost event, has an activate main of resting the stage. Grant up to one of your currently attached Dawn cards to one of your Straw Hat Crew type characters. So basically just being able every single turn, if you attach one and swing with a character, right, of 5,000 power, if you have another 4,000 power character on the field, you can use this stage to move one Dawn over onto that other 4,000 power character and swing 5 again, right? Basically getting 2 Dawn for the price of 1. It's an interesting stage. I don't really see it being value in terms of the meta red decks, right? These Straw Hat type leaders, but it is nice that it is currently attached Dawn to one of your Straw Hat Crew type characters, so you can move this from the leader to one of your characters. Now this Straw Hat Crew Monkey D. Luffy, so activate main once per turn, Dawn -2 as a 4-life purple green leader. If you only have Straw Hat Crew type characters in play, set up to 2 of your rested Dawn cards as active, and then this leader gains 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So very interesting leader effect, right? Being able to make you a 6,000 power leader, we have seen time and time again in this game, is so good, right? If you can consistently get that off. But the key is consistency, right? This says that you can only have Straw Hat Crew type characters to get this effect and restand the 2 Dawn. So is it worth playing stuff like Eustace Captain Kidd, right? Charlotte Pudding, 2 different cards that are able to bring back the Dawn into the field, right? After being inside the Dawn deck. If there's a way for this green purple Luffy, especially kind of like in the mid game, to be able to get the Dawn back pretty easily, this could be an interesting deck within the meta. There is great Straw Hat Crew type characters in there. I'm thinking of that as starter deck 18, was it? The purple one, the purple Luffy one, that could manage really well within this deck. Unfortunately, the leader effect doesn't ramp, so it sounds like kind of an angle that you're going to have to use like Bon Clay or something. And if you don't have Bon Clays, it's tough to get those. And now you've got one of my favorite illustrated SRs of the set, Arlong. Absolutely, Henry, you killed this one. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter type SR character. On play, if your leader has the Fishman or East Blue type, grant up to 1 rested Dawn to your leader. Then up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 5 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. So is really nice for stuff like in green matchups, right? We talk about Cavendish, we talk about Carrot, right? Different activate mains that rest, right? Von Augur in Blackbeard can't do any -3 on your field, and so many different other options that are really interesting in this game, to be honest. You can even have searchers in some matchups. Some of the 1-drop pay 1 Dawn to rest and search can't be doing that within the next turn. This Arlong's going to be really interesting. I'm curious of the Fishman East Blue typing, especially like a leader such as Arlong, right? Being an East Blue leader, Kuro being an East Blue leader. Might see some niche play, especially in Turo, right? The Arlong, you do have to have a trigger on the card in order to cheat it out, which this Arlong does not, but the Kuro could be nice if you go ahead, play him down, and then use the activate main to then rest that Arlong to be able to freeze one character and rest another character to maybe swing at or something of the sort. Do I think it's going to be really good? I don't know, and maybe with the new Jinbei leader that's coming, right? Maybe could have some fun in 11. Maybe more of like a setup card for the future. Oh, I didn't even think about Hody Jones at first. Yeah, I guess you could run it in Hody Jones as well. All right, so moving along in here, 1-cost, 1,000 power Gaimon has a 1k counter, and if you have Sarfunkel, this character gains blocker. Probably not good. Now, Carrot for the Minx, 2k counter, 0 power, 1 cost. On play, if you have 3 or more Dawn cards in play, look at the top 7 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 Zhao and put it in your hand. Then place the bottom in any order and play up to 1 Zhao from your hand. Hopefully I pronounced that right, but this is on a 3 Dawn turn, the ability to cheat out that stage. Interesting that it has the clause if you have 3 or more Dawn cards in play. So kind of forcing you not to be able to utilize this character on turn 1, unfortunately. But for the Minx type package, right, and you're probably in carrot running that stage, this could be a nice 2K to have. Ah, look, there's Sarfunkel, 2-cost Sarfunkel on play up to 1 Gaimon from your hand. There he is right there. He gains blocker. You get a nice 2 costs to play the 1, and the 2 cost has 0 power. It's not good. Moving into another SR that's in green, Jewelry Bonnie. This is a very nice card for a very good deck. Bonnie, right? Debatably the best green deck that we have right now in the format. 7 costs 7,000 power with a 1k counter on it. On play, up to one of your opponent's rested characters will not become active during the opponent's next refresh phase. Then at the end of your turn, set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. So this is a very, very nice card, right? On a 7 to 8 Dawn turn for a Jewelry Bonnie player. A lot of times just for 7 and 8, right? If you didn't play Cavendish on the last turn, you're playing another Cavendish maybe on the field, which doesn't work if you already have a Cavendish on the field, or you're playing Hody Jones, which forces you to take a life. Yeah, you get to rest some characters and Dawn, but you gotta take a life. This allows you some flexibility on that turn to do something that's not taking your life or kind of damaging your board in a sense. This bonding is going to be super nice. Also freezing one of the characters and allows you to still use your leader effect in the next turn is so much great value. This is such a good SR in my opinion for Bonnie, and Bonnie's probably going to move up in EB02 in the Japan finals. Now we've got Chopper Man, who per the rules is also treated as Tony Chopper. I don't know why. They are 2 different names, 2 different complete people. But anyways, 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter. On play, play up to 1 cost 3 or lower animal type characters from your hand. So going back to the other Chopper, if you're playing the Christmas red green Chopper, this guy right here is an animal type, so you can go ahead play that guy down. You would have 2 bodies on the field, this one being a 3 cost or lower animal type character, and you'd be able to give a rested Dawn somewhere on the field, maybe to your Christmas Chopper leader in a sense. Now we've got this East Blue Straw Hat Crew Nami 1-drop, 1k counter, 2,000 power. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Straw Hat Crew type card other than Nami, then put it in your hand. Place the rest in the cards at the bottom in any order. This is going to be really nice for green Straw Hat decks, right? I'm thinking potentially blue-green Zoro, or maybe even, could it be something in like film packages that play like the film Luffy, the film Nami, stuff like that? Because there's Supernova, Straw Hat, Pirates film, right? Yeah, they're all Straw Hat Crew of animal, fishman, film type stuff. This card's going to be an excellent option for a 1 Dawn search on those different turns, right? You don't have to play that 2-drop Nami anymore. What is that 2-drop Nami? Yeah, which just searched for East Blue type. So now having a green Straw Hat searcher gives a little bit of flexibility for some of those decks that kind of jam in that film package. We've got a brick card, 4 cost, 6,000 power with an on play. This buggy. If you do not have another buggy character in play, up to one of your leaders gains double attack until the end of turn with a trigger of resting an opponent's character of a cost of 4 or less. This is a really interesting card, right? The only restriction is that you just can't have another buggy character on field. So, or as a green character, right, in an East Blue type package, anything that does kind of like East Blue searches, like especially Kuro, right? I'm thinking Kuro. Again, Kuro's now going to be able to get double attack, right? Arlong's going to be able to get double attack if they want. And this card has a trigger, so you can cheat it out actually through the Arlong leader effect. A 7,000 power swing, a double attack coming at your life. Definitely going to have to pitch a 2k, 1k for that one. Could be really nice for some Arlong decks in the future. Now, Zoro here, 4 cost 5,000 power, 1k counter. If your opponent has 2 or more characters on the field, this character can attack characters on the turn that it is played. Right? So if you've got a swarm type of opponent, this is very similar to what we see with like Kurita Coliseum in the like Usopp decks that we've seen running around the Asia finals in OP10. If you fulfill this certain condition, you can attack characters as like a mini rush. You cannot attack light on the turn that it was played, but you can attack some characters. And has an on play effect that if your leader has the Straw Hat Crew type, put up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less resting. This is going to be nice, especially good for that green purple Luffy, but we'll see if there's any purple cards that can help get that re-ramp style going. We Are is that green searcher event like I talked about, the 2-cost searcher event. Gum Gum Giant Pistol, 3-cost on the main. Up to one of your Straw Hat Crew type characters gains 6,000 power till the end of the turn. Then that character does not become active during your next refresh phase with a trigger of rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. This is especially interesting. This for 3 Dawn gives you 6,000 power. That's insane value when you're going for the end game, right? Especially as a Straw Hat Crew, gonna be nice for that Luffy, right? And especially if you get some sort of character that has rush. Is there a green rush Straw Hat Crew? Ooh, I found a great green Straw Hat Crew that would get 6,000 power on the attack. Seems a little cheesy, but man, if this hits, oh boy. Because let me tell you, that extra 6,000 power lasts for all 3 swings. What could that max you at? You need 3 Dawn in order to do the effect, so you attach 4 Dawn to the Zoro, make it 13,000. The event makes it 19,000, and you still have 3 Dawn left, so 3 19,000 power swings. Dude, you're winning the game. If they don't have any blockers on the field, that's cooking. Let's go into blue, though. On play, this Usopp, if you have 2 or fewer characters with 5,000 or more power in play up to 1 power 6,000 or lower character from your hand that has no abilities. This is a really interesting card. I think the first leader that I thought of with this effect is the Zoro Sanji type leader, right? Being able to play this Usopp down, right? Be able to cheat out a vanilla type character or something like that, then maybe pick up another character of any sort and swing multiple times with that 6,000 power vanilla character could be really nice, I feel like, at certain points in terms of swarming. I don't know fully exactly what these Zoro Sanji decks look like at this point in the meta, but EB02 might add a couple different pieces that they really like, because who doesn't love cheating out bodies at this point? We've got Crocodile from Baroque Works, 4 cost, 5,000 power, your turn once per turn. When an opponent character is returned to the owner's hand by your effect, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, place them at the top or bottom of any order. Could be nice of stacking, but as Baroque Works, it doesn't really fit in the 7 Warlords of the Sea type package, so it's going to be stuck probably most likely in the blue purple croc like cope, if anything, because it doesn't even have cross guild on it, so like you can't use it in the buggy deck either, but who knows. Now we have Sogeking, which also according to the rules is named as Usopp. Again, not sure why some of these characters have the Straw Hat names, but anyways, 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter on play, draw 2 cards, then place 2 cards from your hand to the bottom of your deck in any order, then return up to 1 character with a cost of 1 or less back to the owner's hand. I've heard some people talk about this in Nami. Do I believe it? Probably not, but I can see where you would want to do that, right? Being able to put away like 2 dead cards that you don't need anymore and then pick up a Kaya to put back in your hand can give you a lot of value, right? Especially when you can set up your end game, right? Or, you know, be able to pick up Kaya to play then again. Being a 4 cost though is just a little bit too high for me, right? I would have loved it if it was a little bit smaller than that, right? I'm okay with it having way less power, but you got to be tricky with Nami because you don't want Nami to be the best deck in format, because then it would get banned and then I would be really sad because it's my favorite deck. Now you have 2-drop Rosinante, Don Quixote Rosinante, Navy Don Quixote Pirates, 2 cost, 3,000 power, 1k counter. Activate main, you may rest 1 of your Dawn cards and this character. If your leader is Rosinante, which there is a green-blue Rosinante leader, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, play 1 character with a cost of 2 or less rested, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Seems cheeky to bring back. I wonder if you would just want it to have some sort of on-play effect that you can utilize in the deck, right? All you need is just to find a card with a cost of 2 or less, right? It doesn't have any other restriction, doesn't have any typings or anything like that. Could be something that you see in the Rosinante deck, right? I'm not super sold on it. I would love if it was like 3 cost or less, maybe. We've got this Vivi right here. 3 cost, 2,000 power with a 1k counter. Has an on-play effect as an Alabasta type character. If your leader is multicolored and you have 5 or less cards in hand, draw 2 cards. Might be really nice for Vivi decks, right? Because Vivi, being a part red deck, might struggle a lot of times with the draw potential of the deck. Might run out of cards in hand pretty decently, even though the leader effect allows you to draw cards as well. This can give some value to you, right? Being able to draw 2 cards at some crazy stages of the game, because honestly, you can kind of manipulate when you have 5 or less cards in hand. Plus, when you play this character, if you had 6 on playing the character, right, and you play down Vivi and then you have 5, right, because you played down a card from hand, it allows you to essentially, if you have 6 or less cards in hand before you play, to get that extra draw. It's really, really cool in my opinion. I like this SR. I think it could be decent in Vivi. I don't think it puts Vivi to the next level though of may give it to the next level of Cope, because it gives you guys some firepower. But anyways, Vista Whitebeard Pirates, 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter. On play, place up to one of your opponent's characters of 1,000 power or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Could be very, very nice in something like Marco, right? Marco being able to minus the power on one character, right? And then on the play of Vista bottom deck, it could be really nice against something like the Doflamingo matchup, right? Also puts away different cards like Lafitte, Doc Q, or whatever. Get them off the field, especially Doc Q, so they can't draw it when that card goes away. Could be crippling for a lot of different matchups, although I guess Blackbeard would just use the on play negate effect, so you can't do Vista. But for the other matchup like Doflamingo is going to be very nice. And you know, if you can make your matchup against debatably the best deck in format better, that's not a bad strategy. You've also got another Whitebeard Pirate, but also Alabasta type in Ace. This is a 5 cost Ace right here, 5,000 power, 1k counter. On play, if your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 2 cost character, put it in your hand, place the rest at the bottom of your deck, and play up to 1 2 cost character from your hand as rested. That's a lot of different words within that text, but this could be really cool for blue yellow Ace, right? One of the starter deck leaders that we got in starter deck 13. Being a 5 cost Ace, right, gives you another option to utilize within that deck to evolve from one of your baby aces, and allows you to find and play another one of those baby aces, but can also synergize well with finding Luffy's, Sabos, because the 2 cost is just has to be a 2 cost. That's it. We've also got Grandpa Ryu right here as the next vanilla, 3 cost, 5,000 power vanilla, 1k counter. What more can you say? Moving into the events, When My Friend's Dreams Are Laughed At, 2 cost, Straw Hat Crew Alabasta type event with the trigger draw a card. Has a counter event on it. If any of your characters would be KO'd in battle this turn, you can discard 1 card from your hand instead. Don't play this in Nami, right? I know we were playing Perfume Fumer for a while. Don't play this card. This card, it's technically, if you're going to go back to Perfume Fumer, sure, you can play this card, but now that we have the 1-drop Nami, there's no reason to play Perfume Fumer, and there's no reason to play this card either. That's all I really have to say. I think it's interesting, because this also looks like it's a counter for if any of your characters would be KO'd in battle this turn, right? So you use it on the first battle that happens, and then that effect stays through the entirety of the turn, right? Anytime that there is a battle on one of your characters, you can just, instead of countering, I don't know, 2, 3 cards, you can just go ahead, pitch 1 from your hand for this effect. Very interesting in my opinion. All right, going into Water 7, Galilei Company, Iceberg, 2k counter, 1 cost. On play, if there are 3 or more Dawn cards on your field, look at the top 7 cards on the top of your deck, reveal a Galilei Company and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order and play up to 1 Galilei Company from your hand. So on a 4 Dawn turn, you can look at the top 7, just grab a Galilei Company, and then play one. It just has to say Galila Company. What's the highest cost Galila Company? So the highest card, at least in the West up to this point, is something like Khalifa, or just 5 costs in general, right? You have Kaku's, Rob Lucci's, Lulu's, Polly. Polly was a famous one. So interesting enough for the Iceberg deck, right? Being able to cheat out a character, and looking at the top 7 is a lot. Do we have any more Galila Company cards in here? I don't think so, but maybe in the future we could get more support for this idea. They probably, after printing this card, don't want to do too much though. No, not too big of guys, because that could get crazy, right? Being able to play like a 9-cost character on a 4-Dawn turn would just be absurd. But it could be interesting if we see more Water 7 support for the future for Iceberg, right? Being able already to cheat out a 5-cost or less Galila Company character from the hand. So basically being able to cheat out 2 for the price of 1, right? All you rest 1 Dawn on a 4-Dawn turn, play out one of those characters, and then use your activate main to minus that Dawn to play out another character through the leader effect. Oh, that's really interesting, huh? Iceberg could be cool in EB02. Now we have a fairy type, or I'm sorry, 1000 counter 1-cost character. If you have a Going Merry in play, this character gains blocker. So is a little 1-cost blocker that you've got if you've got a Going Merry stage. There is a Going Merry stage in is Mini Merry the same as Going Merry? Anyways, moving on, 4-cost, 6000 power, Kome, Navy Foxy Pirates, 1k counter, vanilla, SR time. So Sanji and Pudding, Straw Hat Crew, Big Mom Pirate card, 5-cost, 7000 power. On your turn, once per turn, when 2 or more Dawn cards are returned to your Dawn deck, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck as active with an on play. If the number of Dawn cards are equal to or less than your opponent's, draw 1 card. So could have really nice synergy with this green purple Luffy, right? Being that this Sanji and Pudding is a Straw Hat Crew type card, you can use your leader effect, ramp one of them back, restand a couple as active, and then be a 6000 power leader. Also having a little bit of draw, right? Being able to play in something like purple Luffy, right? The Luffy Taro, the one that I'm thinking of right now, at least. Having the restrictions of a 5-cost or less Straw Hat Crew type character could have really cool synergies within a bunch of different decks, right? Especially some that are playing this type of package. Now, with Purple Luffy, might be a little bit different because in the mirror is probably the only time that you're going to be able to get this off where you're equal to or less than your opponent in amount of Dawn. But maybe off of Luffy Taro, you might be able to get a draw one. Just could be a really cool card in a lot of different ideas, especially because you can also add it in Big Mom Pirate type packages like the yellow purple Charlotte Pudding. We've got a Straw Hat Crew purple Nico Robin here, a 3-cost blocker with an on KO of Dawn -1. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Straw Hat Crew type card, put it in your hand, place the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. So could be nice on that on KO effect of being able to grab any Straw Hat Crew type character, right? No color restriction, anything like that. So it could be some value for the green purple that you've got going on. Frankie also 3-cost, 4000 power, 1k counter, Straw Hat Crew water 7 on play when attacking. If your leader has the Straw Hat Crew type and the number of Dawn cards on board is equal or less than your opponent, add up to 1 card from your Dawn deck as rested. So could be some nice synergies that we talked about, right? If you've got a 5-cost Sanji Pudding and a 3-cost Frankie, you'd be able then to use your leader effect as a Dawn -2 to get 2 more active Dawn back, bring back 1 as an active Dawn, so a 3rd active Dawn back, and then on top of that, get a Dawn back as rested, fully re-ramping you. It's a super interesting package that these Straw Hats are provided around the green purple Luffy, especially kind of on the purple side, with also the green side having some interesting aspects of its own, right? This Nami searcher that I mentioned earlier finds any of them. Frankie kind of rounding out the Straw Hat Crew stuff is really cool. And then we got Magellan Impel Down because we asked for purple Impel Down, right? I'm sure we did. 3 cost 4,000 power, 1k counter. On play, play a cost 2 or lower Impel Down type card character from your hand. Magellan leader stonks? I don't know. Now Germa 66. This Germa 66 Vinsmoke family 4 cost event for purple. You may discard a Germa 66 type character with 4,000 or less power from your hand. If the number of Dawn cards on the field is equal to or less than your opponent's, play a character card that has 5,000 to 7,000 power and the same name as the discarded character from your trash. So, especially for Reiju decks, right? Instead of doing a rest all the Dawn and then Dawn minus, you can kind of skip the turn in. You can kind of skip a step entirely, not do any of the Dawn minusing at all, and just pitch that guy from your hand to cheat out that character. I actually kind of like this event in Reiju. I think it's really neat. I know some people are iffy on it, right? It's a non-counterable card, right? A lot of the babies and stuff have that 1k counter that you can utilize, so technically a brick in your hand, but it allows you to maintain your Dawn a little bit, especially if you've done it once or twice. It might be nice to just cheat out the body, right? Sure, you don't get the draw off Reiju, right, through leader effect, but there could be some interesting moments where you just want to play out the characters, right? If you're competing with Doflamingo, you gotta play guys out, and you need the Dawn to be able to use to swing at them. Brand New World is the purple Searcher event, that 2 cost. And then here's Going Merry, right, in EB02. 1 cost stage on play if your leader has the Straw Hat type, crew type, draw 1 card. So very similar to what we saw with the black stage. I think it was 1,000 Year Sunny. That was the stage in the starter deck. I can't remember. But anyways, this purple event, activate main, rest the stage. If the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number of Dawn cards on your opponents, or up to one of your Straw Hat crew type characters, gains +2 cost until the end of your opponent's next turn, right? Could have some interesting synergies. Could be really nice for this Robin, right? Giving a +2 to a Robin on the field, especially with the when attacking, could be able to give a -5 somewhere on the field. Very, very nice, and give you some clean setups and stuff like that. So could be utilized a lot in purple black Luffy, right? Might try to shift and play that card, maybe play around with it. Also would allow you to draw a card. So is it that bad? I don't know. Has a really nice activate main as well, so it's better than that starter deck card, I think, that's played in that Luffy. Just can't play it for the pure black Luffy. It has to be in the purple black one, specifically from OP09. All Hunt Grout, Navy type character, 6 cost, 8,000 power vanilla with a 1k counter. And then Jonathan, one of my favorite, Navy captains. He's not an admiral. I think he's probably just captain. 7 cost, 9,000 power vanilla character. And then we go to the SRs. Sengoku is the first of the 2 in this set. 7 cost, 7,000 power Navy blocker with a 1k counter on it. On play, play up to 1 black Navy type character card with the cost of 4 or less from your trash rested. It's definitely a sweet card, right? Being able to play black Navy cards as rested can get you some additional effects. Maybe you want to draw more, right, as Smoker. Maybe you want to play the Brand New, so again, draw maybe another card as that Brand New. Or maybe play that 4 cost Hina, right? 4 cost Hina can be a nice card for a Smoker deck of sorts. I know they kind of played around with it a little bit. This gives a little bit more validity, right? Also, maybe you want to play something like Borsalino, right? Borsalino excels as an active blocker, but it kind of forces your opponent, right? Once you pass it off into their turn, he becomes a 6,000 power body that still can't be KO'd by effect, so you force to battle it, and you've got a 7,000 power blocker on the field in this Sengoku. So could be interesting for Smoker decks specifically. That's kind of the first one that I'm thinking of. Might give a little bit of rise to that guy. You've got Trafalgar Law right here in the nice stylish stun glasses, removing the mustache. Is also a blocker, this one being Dressrosa's Supernova Heart Pirates type, a 5 cost, 6,000 power blocker. Has an on play of you may return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order, And if you do, you then choose one of the following of drawing a card, or if your opponent has 5 or more cards in the hand, they discard 1 card from their hand. So competing with the likes of Sabo, right? That blocker Sabo. This is a blocker Trafalgar Law that does a little bit different of things, can be a little bit control-y, right? Being able to take a card out of your opponent's hand before you go ahead and start swinging. Thriller Bark Pirates here with another 2K, 3 cost 3,000 power on play. Trash 2 cards from the top of your deck, then up to one of your opponent's characters gets -1 cost for the turn. This card sucks. A 3 cost on play -1? No thanks. If you're looking for 2Ks in the Thriller Bark deck, though, I guess you can play this card. Might also maybe fix a little bit of math, you know, with that -1, but it just -1 is so underwhelming. We've got Bleno now in the CP9 category. 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter. Activate main. You may discard 1 card from your hand and place this character into the trash. You could play another character with the cost of 5 or less other than Bleno that includes CP from your trash. This could be really nice to bring 5 cost characters such as Kaku from the trash. You would be able to build up your trash through Bleno and another card from your hand. So there's 2 cards right there that probably have CP in it to bring back into your deck through the Kaku effect and KOing a character. Rob Lucci may enjoy this card, right? Could be a cool 5-drop option because especially with 5 or less, you can recur stuff like the 4 cost Rob Lucci, right? Specifically that I'm thinking of. You could see some interesting play through this in Rob Lucci decks. A small option gain. I don't know if it's a buff necessarily, but it's at least an option. Brooke, though, a Straw Hat Crew, 1 cost 6,000 power character, has an on play of you may add 1 Laboon from your trash to your hand, and then on KO, you may play a 4 cost Laboon from your hand. So, looking at different decks that maybe play Laboon, here's a really nice combo with the Laboon from EB01 that costs too much money. So if you don't have one-on-one already, I'm sorry, but fork over your wallets if this becomes playable. Monkey D. Garp. I've heard this Navy 5 cost 6,000 power character gain a lot of noise actually in some different black decks heading into EB02's release. Has an on play of giving your leader up to 2 rested Dawn cards, and then with an activate main, you can rest this character if your leader is Monkey D. Garp, KO up to one of your opponent's 1 cost or lower characters. So on a 5 Dawn turn, you can play that 5 cost down, attach the 2 Dawn to your Garp leader, and then with your leader, you can -2 cost on a character, right? Use the activate main to KO a cost 1 or lower. It's really a cheeky way to be able to KO a 3 cost or less while establishing a 6,000 power body on the field. I do like that this is also activate main. So then if you maybe, I guess in the Blackbeard matchup, right, you don't get the on play effect in there, but you do get that activate main still to get rid of something like a Lafitte, and you don't have to swing at it. The black 2 cost searching event is Map of the Heart. You're going to see this a lot in decks that play Gecko Warrior, I'll tell you that right now. But you've got a former Rumbar Pirates 3 cost event, 3 versus Hum, Arrow Notch Cut. Has a main of choose one of the following. You can K up to one of your opponent's cost 2 or lower characters, or up to one of your opponent's characters gets -4 cost in the turn. This is a really interesting event, right? Gives you a couple different options in flexibility of either KOing or doing a lot of minusing. Former Rumbar Pirates doesn't really fit the bill for too much stuff going on right now. Maybe hint of a former Rumbar Pirates Brook leader in the future. Maybe some searchable stuff, but doesn't really synergize well either with Map of the Heart because it's a cost 3 and not a cost 4. So could just be a very interesting tech card that you see in some different decks, right, that maybe need the minusing. But KOing a cost 2 or lower character could be nice for KOing different, you know, Teach. Now, what some people debate as the best SR in the set, best card in the set, 10 drop, 11,000 power Sky Island Yellow Enel. If your leader has the Sky Island type, this character gains Rush. Already great for Enel. We're already sitting pretty for Enel fans. And then when it has Rush, when attacking, you can discard 1 card from your hand. If you have 1 life or less, you can add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your life, and the character gains 1,000 power during the turn. So becomes a 12,000 power Rush character that gains you a life on a 10 Dawn turn. Wow, seems really good for something like Enel. Hopefully you got your Enel leader. I did. And honestly, just probably some yellow decks in general could play this, because even though you need to be the Sky Island leader to get rushed, though when attacking doesn't have that restriction. You just have to pitch a card from your hand, so it can be played with virtually any yellow deck. This card has a lot of value. Now we have 3 cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter. I'm gonna get this name wrong, so apologies. Olga Myskina has an on play and on KO effect. Look at the top card of you or your opponent's life, place it at the top or bottom cards. Part of the alchemy type, so not really a lot of cards that have that, I think, right now in the game. So we'll see probably more of that in the future, but could be nice, right? Being able to manipulate your opponent's life or your life in some sense. Could be nice for setting up some different triggers, right? Think about if you play the 0 cost event and you see it in that first life, you're like, oh, wait, maybe I want that in the last life. Could just be really nice. Sanji as well, 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter with the East Blue and Straw Hat Crew type, is a blocker with an on play effect. If you have 2 or less life, draw 2 cards from your deck and trash 1 card from your hand. Thinking of the different Straw Hat Crew type leaders, I guess, because maybe you want it to be searchable. Maybe Nico Robin plays this, right? Especially if they can go sort of into like a Straw Hat Crew type package. This allows you to draw 2, trash 1, right? Effectively netting you a card in situations. Or I guess it's net 0 because you play a card and then trash a card and then draw 2 cards, so you're sitting at the same hand as you were before. But a little bit of filtering can't hurt anybody. Doesn't have a trigger though, so it's a little awkward in that deck. I don't really think you play it in black yellow Luffy. Doesn't feel like it fits really. So maybe one of the OP12 leaders or something like that can be a yellow leader. We don't really have a lot of yellow leaders actually in Straw Hat Crew. Maybe Brooke yellow black, or Frankie yellow might fit. But moving on, we've got Jinbei Fishman Straw Hat Crew, 4 cost, 5,000 power, 2k counter with the trigger. If your leader has the merfolk or fishman type, you have 2 or less cards, play this card. Definitely a card for the Shirahoshi in OP11. Could be a nice 2k, right? But you have to make it like fishman oriented, because if you have like a merfolk type deck, I don't even think you can really just make a merfolk type deck. I think it has to be like a different typing to your leader, but this allows you with the Shirahoshi to play this card in the late stages of the game. Vegapunk, the final SR that we've got on the set today. 5 cost blocker with an on play. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Play up to 1 5 cost or lower scientist type character card. Then put the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. And if your opponent has 2 or less characters, discard 1 card from your hand. So very interesting that it has the like 2 or less characters, discard 1 card from your hand type. And my first thought, very obviously, is Vegapunk, right? Vegapunk being able to use this to either put this guy in play or in the life, which, by the way, it has a trigger of draw 1 card. You have plenty of scientist type characters that you utilize within the deck that could synergize well with this, right? Looking at the top 5, you can play an Atlas, right? Can't be KO'd in battle if you have less than your opponent. You can play an Edison and draw 2, trash 2. You can have a nice blocker Shaka, one of the best cards in Vegapunk, in my opinion. One of the best scientist options. Pythagoras, a good option that we see play, right? Playing another egghead type card of 4 or less. Think about if you go Vegapunk blocker into Pythagoras, gets KO'd, and you cheat out a free Lilith, right? Being able to do, once again, just search cards and play or reveal a card to put in your hand. Also, what does this York do? Add the life card to your hand, KO 2 or less? Nah, that's the worst. Also, this is a scientist. On play, place up to 1 of your opponent's characters with the cost of 3 or less at the top or bottom of your opponent's life cards face up. Trigger, give up to 2 of your opponent's leader or character cards minus 3,000 power during the turn. Could be interesting. I don't think you could see it in play for Vegapunk because you're so hardcore focused on the egghead typing to be able to use your effect, right? Because Vegapunk's leader effect is only egghead and not scientist. But again, all of these 5 cards right here being scientist cards, you can go ahead and play them out. Mad Treasure, 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1k character. When attacking, you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life to your hand. You place up to 1 of your your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less to the top or bottom of your opponent's life. Do we have a treasure pirate of anything? No, so that's going to be something that we'll have to see in the future potentially. Maybe we'll have a treasure pirates leader. I honestly don't know who the treasure pirates are. Hello Searcher event is hey there in that, and without you I can't become king of the pirates. Nice 4 cost event of Straw Hat Crew. It's a counter event. Your leader or up to one of your characters gain plus 1000 power for the battle. Then if your life total is 1 or less, play up to 1 yellow cost 5 or lower Straw Hat type or Sanji character card from your hand. Oh, this is kind of nice for the blocker Sanji, right? Being a 5 cost or lower, this Sanji card is just Vinsmoke family, right? So as a trigger as well is kind of nice. I'm thinking about other 5 cost or lowers. Maybe this Egghead Sanji, right? It's a 6000 power character, but that's Straw Hat Crew. Trying to think of non-Straw Hat Crew Sanjis. This one's Vinsmoke Germa Kingdom, but it'd be yellow blue, so that's a little awkward. So anyways, could be something in the future. 2 cost Going Merry. Activate main. You may rest this stage and turn the top card of your life cards face up. Up to one of your Straw Hat Crew type characters gains 1000 power until the end of the opponent's next turn. So if you don't have a ton of face up life, excellent stage for that. And then the secret rare of the set, just 1 secret rare, just like EB01, 6 cost 7000 power Monkey D Luffy Water 7 Straw Hat Crew. If your leader is multicolored and your opponent has 5 or more, this character gains rush unless you're facing like a Reiju or something that aggressively de-ramps itself. On a 6 Dawn turn, you're always going to be able to get rush as long as you're playing a multicolored leader. But when attacking, you can return 2 of your active Dawn to your Dawn deck. You set this character as active, then add the top card of your life to your hand. Really interesting when attacking effect, in my opinion, being that you can return only 2 active Dawn, right? It's 2 Dawn that you haven't used yet up to that point. But with that 2 Dawn, you would essentially get another 7000 power swing. So really feels like a card that you're trying to push the end game. I know some people were thinking about it in blue purple Luffy, the leader that was revealed in OP11. So if you're looking ahead on the market watches or whatever, I would make sure, if we learned anything from Bon Clay, that maybe you get a play set of these, right, from EBs, right? EBs are not a dime a dozen in there, but that's going to be all for this one. Really interesting set. I think there's a lot of cool ideas that you can do within this. I don't think, is this the only leader actually? Yeah, that Luffy is the only leader in the set. I don't think it's like crazy insane, but I think that there could be some cool things inside that they've not only put in here that are already existing in the deck that I think could be really, really cool. And just a couple key pieces for a lot of different leaders here or there and everywhere, especially if you're a big fan of some of the not super meta leaders, right? I know like Iceberg, I made a tweet the other day about Iceberg, and some of you told me that you love the Iceberg leader, and I've got some friends that love the Iceberg leader, so power to ya. You know, Reiju fans doing well, just a lot of decks liking this event, and so many more. But thank you again so much for watching. Hope you enjoy this. Make sure to let me know what your favorite cards are from the set down below, and I'll see you later.